far, got rid of Jace Bella in Game 1, and has now got on the verge of getting rid of the Pro Tour Geneva champion.
Absolutely. It looks like John just used his weight of conscience to deal with Silvergill Dowser, which is otherwise a big problem for his deck. But he's not quite able to get through as much as I'm sure he would like against the mana-shy Guillaume Wafotapa. It's going to be interesting to see if Guillaume can hold on despite missing some of these land drops. Looks like he's going to try to get in with that Schoolmaster, and he does. Gives him another 1/1 token. Whoops.
Coordinated
Keep the token.
barrage.
John's got the coordinated barrage, but it looks like we got a counter for it.
Counter target non-creature spell. It's narrow, but if it's non-creature, it's a counter spell.
Does what you need it to right there. Still, those 1/1s with the Stony Brook Schoolmaster, especially if John's going to hit on that.
Hello,
on that
and not only did he hit on the kinship, it's what he hit on the kinship with. It's the Kithkin Harbinger. Now, of course, the Wizened Sen's already gone, so we'll have to see what he would go out to get. But of course, he's got so many options.
Yeah, he's got a lot of juicy targets.
Yeah.
The Preeminent Captain, Surge's Thought Weft, any number of his creatures, a second Sin's Heir.
A Balloonist.
Yeah,
the options are many.
A lot of opportunities for him, and of course, that means he's going to hit the kinship next turn on his Zephyronaut for certain.
Yep. Of course, he could decide not to search. Hody, hody, ho.
I don't know how they do it in the UK, but...
Oh, you funny man. That's outrageous. I'm looking at all the day one rejects from the UK out in the floor there. Yes. Disgraceful.
Oh,
all right. Okay, thanks for that, Bill. I wondered how long that was going to take. Well,
hey, to be fair, your top 8 projections were a lot better than mine.
Well, we didn't do badly, actually. I mean, Steve Sadin was very, very close. Potovin had a positive record. And some of the guys you didn't actually name for top 8 have done very well. I mean, I know how much you expected Mike Rohn to do very well, even though you didn't have him in your top 8 at the start of the weekend.
Yeah, we talked off camera, and I said 2 Dark Horse American candidates I had. I actually picked Luis Scott Vargas, LSV to his friends, and Chris Lockman. But John Finkel and Mike Rohn were my 2 Dark Horse candidates, and they're sitting here playing in the top 8, so that's pretty exciting for me.
Just to let you know what's going to be coming your way, we're going to go and see Nikolai Herzog's match pretty soon. Once that next game ends, we're going to head over to see the Norwegian Hall of Famer against Portugal's Marcio Carvalho. So we will see what will be game 3 of that match, what could be the conclusion of this one. But Wafotapa still fighting, because that's what Wafotapa does.
Yep, he's fighting to try to hit that land drop, but looks like he's still not coming up with it.
I saw Wafotapa in action first. The first time I was really impressed with him was seeing him in the top 8 of a Grand Prix back in 2006. And there in the quarterfinals, he sadly was 1 game to 0 down. He mulliganed to 6, then he mulliganed to 5, took a hand that was 4 land and a spell. And basically he died 11 turns later, having drawn, I think it was something like 9 land and 2 spells. And what was great about it was that every turn you would have no clue what he drew. He sat there gradually dying, watching his life total eke away. But in the end, sure, he lost. But boy, he played hard with nothing.
Yeah, and the French players actually have a history of playing with their backs against the wall. We talked about Olivier Rouel this weekend, who was 0-2 to start with, and then managed to win back into day 2. And even when he came back to the game, I was talking to him at Pro Tour San Diego. He said he came back to the game. He was playing his first match of the Pro Tour back. It was an elimination round, so it was round that he would be eliminated from the Pro Tour. He was down a game. He mulled to 5. And just said, you know what, we got to win. Came back and wound up moneying that Pro Tour. So it's something that the French players have in common with one another.
Well, if you look at the life totals there, Finkel at 19, Wafotapa at 8. Things are not looking good for the Frenchman. Maybe this is going to be as far as he goes.
Yep. Still can't complain. Top 8. A good start on the Pro Tour Player of the Year race, a nice payday, adding another title or another element of title to your persona as a player, moving from being a constructed mastermind now to being a more flexed out type of player. It's been a good weekend for Guillaume Wafotapa, whatever happens here.
I also think it's been a good weekend for the Player of the Year race, because quite frankly, if Wafotapa had won here, and of course he still could, he is still on 7 bonus life, he is not dead, but if he had won here, then you would say let's look at a standard Pro Tour in LA, you would say let's look at an extended Pro Tour in Berlin in November. There are not many deck building teams that can compete with Wafotapa. I think Nassif, Chape, and Herberholz would be three names that would spring to mind.
Sure.
Obviously, the Japanese as a whole would probably have a very solid deck or two coming into Berlin. But you would bank on Wafatapa to make one of the top eights in those, if not both, the way he's been going.
Sure.
And at that point, if he wins the Limited Pro Tour at the start of the year, you're thinking, yeah, we're all playing for second place here.
Okay, so Wafotapa just made a pretty tight play there. He dropped the Fairy Harbinger as a blocker to deal with some of the flyers, but unfortunately, because of the position he's in, not able to utilize the search function simply because it would prevent him from drawing the land he so desperately needs to find.
Yeah, apart from anything else, we know that there's Ether Snipe in his hand. He's got a single island in play. He can't even evoke out that if he felt the need to. So he is really looking for land. We'll have an island, please, Bob. No, we won't. We'll have a spell.
He did get to trade for the Pestermite, which gives a little bit of momentum there, getting at least one of the attackers off the board. But John had the second one, the balloonist that he tutored for, right back into things. And that's really rough to face down that balloonist when it's sitting across from a Sin's Air, because things can just get out of hand here really quickly.
Okay, so research the deep. And he does need some deep research. Clash. Oh, now there is, the card he drew is an island.
Yep.
So is that going to be too late? He has at least got one now, though.
Yes, and he does have a Harpoon Sniper on top, which, if he's allowed to survive, would begin shotgunning every single one of John's creatures. Of course, playing the research there is it's a necessary evil, but it does dig John one card closer to making sure he hits on his kinship for his Zephyronon. He did have a Plains on top. He gets to take that dead draw, stick it to the bottom of the deck, and he might have a Sarah Angel on his turn again, thanks in part to his opponent.
Well, what we're trying to work out, I mean, is there a way back for Wafatapa here? Because he's on 4. We've got a Kinswell Balloonist down. If that turns sideways, one of the others, for example, Sen's Air, gets flying. That would be a 4-4. That's even without kinship on the Zephyronaut. It looks to me like we're done.
Is
there a way back? He lays the island, of course.
You never want to count him out, but he's got an uphill battle.
I'm looking at his hand here. He's got a Dewdrop Spy, which I don't believe he can cast because that's double blue. He's got Plover Knights, no. Sig River Guide, irrelevant. Ether Snipe, he can't cast. Research the Deep, he's got back. And that is Stream of Unconsciousness. He's like... I don't see how he survives here.
It is not looking good. He's got Plover Knights for the next turn if he can make it. If he can make it through.
Please, sir, may I have another turn? I don't think you can, Mr. Wafatapa. I don't think you can.
Did hold off the research the depths for the second time there, despite having mana up for it. In that will benefit him to some extent, as I said, helping John not hit the kinship on the Zephyronaut.
Ming Shi, meanwhile, has tied things up at 1 apiece with Joe Calafell. Two of the underdogs doing battle there, Blue-White Merfolk against Green-White with a red splash. So Ming Shi is on the board.
It's an interesting match to watch. Of course, those guys, 4 guys in the top 8 like this, it's hard to get fair attention paid to them, but it'll be interesting to see who comes out of that and what that represents about their chances in the top 8.
Well, we've got at least another 2 matches there. So here we go. Kinsbell Balloonist comes in. Sen's Air comes in. Presumably Finkel will give the Sen's Air flying.
Yep.
There we go. I'm taking these 2.
Yep.
So at this point, we've got Stream of Unconsciousness from Guillaume.
Yep. And it sounds like
He's
from
got
the
a wizard,
floor,
so he draws a card.
sounds like from the floor we're getting our first result of a finished match. Looks like Mario Pascoli is going to take it 3-0 over Mike Cron on the back of Chandra Nalar.
So that is the first of our 4 Pro Tour winners gone from the top 8. Mario Pascoli, the Italian reigning champion, sweeps Mike Roan 3-0. Wouldn't have expected that. I guess those 7 removal spells, Thundercloud Shaman, Chandra Nalar.
Yeah,
wow.
His deck just seemed favored against Atron, and you never want to count Atron out. He's a very solid player. He's very good in limited, but the deck Pascoli's deck just looked like it had him.
So,
Guillaume Wafatapa going to attack again with that Schoolmaster. He's just going to make as many Merfolk as he can. That'll be a placeholder block.
there's
a
a
6 land for that Aether Snipe. That's going to be big at helping him get back into things.
Yeah, but there's still a Zephyronaut. Have we got